Scene 2 shifts the emotional terrain of the film into something more volatile. Grounded in domestic tension and the fraught dynamics of authority, care, and resistance between Sienna and Allie, yet beneath the raised voices and rigid demands lies a more complicated story about longing for structure, recognition, and connection. The scene opens with what appears to be a mundane request, Sienna asking Allie to help set the table, but this quickly unravels into a confrontation that reveals deeper fractures in their relationship. Allie's room, messy and unattended, becomes more than a physical space. It functions as a symbolic extension of her internal state, reflecting disorganization, resistance, and perhaps a quiet refusal to fully settle into the environment she has been placed in. Sienna's reaction is immediate and intense, her frustration escalating in a way that suggests the mess is not the true source of her anger, but rather a trigger for larger anxieties about control, responsibility, and her role within this shared household. The dynamic between them is shaped by a clear imbalance of power, with Sienna occupying a position of authority that she asserts through rigid expectations and disciplinary language, while Allie pushes back with defiance, sarcasm, and a refusal to fully submit. Yet even within this conflict, there are glimpses of something more layered, a sense that both women are grappling with unmet needs and unspoken emotions that neither knows how to articulate safely. From a queer, emotionally grounded perspective, the scene invites us to look beyond the surface-level argument and consider how intimacy between women can sometimes emerge through tension rather than harmony, particularly in environments where vulnerability feels risky or unfamiliar. Sienna's insistence on respect and order can be read as an attempt to create stability, not only for the household, but for herself, suggesting a history of emotional labor and perhaps burnout that has left her with little patience for unpredictability. Her language, though harsh, carries an undercurrent of urgency, as if maintaining control is the only way she knows how to protect herself from chaos. Allie, on the other hand, embodies a different kind of resistance, one that is rooted in her own experiences of being managed, judged, or displaced. Her comment about already having one difficult maternal figure hints at a background of strained familial relationships, positioning her current situation as a continuation of patterns she has not chosen but must navigate. This tension between them is not simply oppositional, it is relational, shaped by the ways both women have been conditioned to understand authority, care, and emotional expression. Within queer readings, such dynamics often carry an additional layer of complexity, as relationships between women can blur the boundaries between roles such as caretaker, mentor, partner, or chosen family. The scene captures this ambiguity, showing how easily these roles can overlap and create confusion, especially when emotional needs go unacknowledged. As the argument intensifies, the physical proximity between Sienna and Allie becomes a focal point, not in a sensationalized way, but as a representation of how conflict can force intimacy. Being close in space while emotionally distant creates a charged atmosphere where every word and gesture carries heightened significance. Sienna's refusal to disengage, her insistence that Allie comply, can be interpreted as both an exertion of power and a bid for connection, a way of demanding engagement even if it takes the form of conflict. Allie's resistance, meanwhile, is not purely dismissive, it is also a form of communication, signaling her need for autonomy and her discomfort with being controlled. This push and pull reflects a broader pattern seen in many relationships between women, where emotional intensity can serve as both a barrier and a bridge, simultaneously obscuring and revealing deeper feelings. The turning point of the scene arrives when Sienna shifts her approach, explicitly stating that she is trying a different strategy. This moment is significant, not because it resolves the conflict, but because it acknowledges, however indirectly, that the existing dynamic is not working. It introduces the possibility of change, of reimagining the terms of their interaction in a way that might allow for mutual understanding rather than continued escalation. From a queer lens, this shift can be seen as a metaphor for the process of self-recognition and relational growth, where individuals begin to question the scripts they have been following and consider alternative ways of connecting. It is in these moments of uncertainty, when established patterns are disrupted, that new forms of intimacy can emerge. Importantly, the scene does not present this shift as easy or straightforward. It remains fraught with tension, underscoring the difficulty of unlearning behaviors that have been shaped by years of social conditioning. In the context of Latina representation, the scene carries additional weight, as it engages with cultural narratives around family, respect, and authority. Latina women are often depicted within frameworks that emphasize strong familial bonds and hierarchical structures, which can both support and constrain expressions of individuality and desire. By situating Sienna and Allie within this context, the film opens up space to explore how these cultural expectations intersect with queer identity, creating unique challenges and possibilities. The question of whether a more open society influences women to become lesbians is subtly reframed here as well. Rather than suggesting that openness creates desire, the scene illustrates how different environments can either suppress or allow for the exploration of existing feelings. In a setting where authority and conformity are emphasized, as in Sienna's household, expressions of identity and emotion may be tightly regulated, making it more difficult for individuals like Allie to fully understand or articulate their desires. Conversely, moments of vulnerability and openness, even within conflict, can create opportunities for recognition and growth. The scene's focus on emotional negotiation, rather than explicit declaration, aligns with this perspective, showing how identity is often shaped through a series of small, complex interactions, rather than singular, defining moments. Beyond its queer implications, the scene resonates with broader themes that many women may find familiar, regardless of orientation. The expectation to maintain order, to manage others' behavior, and to uphold standards of respectability is a burden that often falls disproportionately on women, leading to cycles of frustration and burnout. Sienna's intensity can be understood within this framework, as the result of accumulated pressure and the internalization of responsibility for maintaining the household. Allie's resistance, meanwhile, reflects the counterpoint to this dynamic, highlighting the ways younger or less empowered individuals may push back against expectations they perceive as unfair or overwhelming. Their interaction becomes a microcosm of these broader social patterns, illustrating how systemic pressures can shape personal relationships in profound ways. The film's refusal to simplify or resolve these tensions too quickly is one of its strengths, as it allows for a more nuanced exploration of how women navigate conflicting needs and desires. In terms of societal discomfort with women expressing love or connection to one another, the scene offers a compelling critique by focusing on the emotional undercurrents that often go unrecognized. Rather than presenting intimacy as overt or easily identifiable, it situates it within the complexities of conflict, care, and negotiation, challenging viewers to reconsider how they interpret interactions between women. This approach resists both erasure and sensationalization, insisting on a more grounded and respectful portrayal that acknowledges the full spectrum of women's experiences. The ambiguity of Sienna and Allie's relationship, the way it defies easy categorization, is central to this effort, as it reflects the reality that not all connections fit neatly into predefined labels. For queer women, this ambiguity can be both familiar and validating, capturing the ways in which relationships are often shaped by context, history, and unspoken understanding. At the same time, the scene highlights the importance of boundaries and the ethical considerations that arise when power imbalances are present. The dynamic between Sienna and Allie is not presented as ideal or uncomplicated. It is marked by tension, coercion, and moments of discomfort that invite critical reflection. This complexity is essential, as it prevents the narrative from romanticizing situations that require careful examination. Instead, it encourages viewers to think deeply about what constitutes healthy connection, and how individuals can move toward more equitable and compassionate forms of interaction. Ultimately, Scene 2 serves as a powerful exploration of the challenges and possibilities inherent in relationships between women, particularly within contexts shaped by authority and cultural expectation. It underscores the importance of self-awareness, communication, and the willingness to adapt, even when doing so is difficult. By centering emotional truth and mutual recognition, the film continues to build a narrative that prioritizes authenticity over spectacle, offering a portrayal of women's lives that is both honest and deeply resonant.